Hello. Good morning on this lovely Sunday morning. And I have been still setting up, still waking up. We got the, donkeys. Haven't finished that, so I'm not fully awake yet. But the plan today is to finish the bar. We, yes, y'all are helping me with this. I have I have all the parts cut out. I think everything is appropriately measured the way it's supposed to be. And I am going to fantastic continue playing with this RPG bot because I have a problem. And I need to learn how to type. Fantastic. 45 minutes for that. And okay, we're good to go. So let's see. Hello, good morning, Eclipse. How are you doing? Let me untangle my thread because, of course, I have to do things the hard way and use half a skein of thread when you're not supposed to. So, Eclipse, I don't know if you have been to any of my streams in the past, but I am working on plastic canvas props for my dolls these are crocheted with the like friendship bracelet threads. And this is all for a stop motion style animation of a story that the story started as a darker, grittier version of a LARP that I was involved in back in college and has now evolved into okay, well, my LARP character, Kazul, which is where the name came from, she is a dragon trapped in human form because plot reasons and because I didn't quite have all of the things to dress up as, part dragon, full part or full dragon, whatever. So she wanders into the Brandy Bush, which is a tavern that kind of exists outside of time because you'll find a Brandy Bush in every town, and it's not a Brandy Bush, it is the Brandy Bush because fey magics are a strange thing. So, the Brandy Bush tends to act as a lot of headquarters for different adventurers, and the world that this takes place in, I have been building to have sort of like a hub world for all of my various stories. So, the world is, I have things down to, I have the overall picture of the continent. I have each little region because they're not really countries. Um, they're kingdoms because it's medieval fantasy. Uh, and I'm like, okay, well, I can't be bothered to do 3D animation on the computer because I cannot model like organic things to save my life. You want an architectural drawing? Absolutely, I'll be all over that. But when it comes to doing any sort of character work, I'm like, no. I took my degree is in game design, specifically focusing on the art side of doing that. And I'm just like, okay, I use the programs enough to pass my classes, and no thanks. I'll sit here coming up with the music, coming up with the storyline, being a creative director, because somehow I always like ended up in that role anyways. I'm like, I don't want to be in charge. By default, the group voted me in charge. I'm like, guys, but this is a good way to show off my crafts as well as push myself into experimenting with new crafts because I've only really started doing plastic canvas, I don't know, 2 weeks ago to set up the props. I'm honestly more excited to do all the voice acting for this animation than I am for a lot of the other things. Of course, creating the dolls are fun and all of the like physically manifesting the ideas that are in my head down into the real world is obviously also a positive. But I've been looking for some sort of project that I can do voices on. Not that I've done any sort of like, oh yeah, let me find a voice acting forum and see what work I can get there, but I just enjoy playing characters. It's a good escape from the real world. So I do a little bit of everything to keep myself busy. Because if I'm not doing 15 things, I start to get anxious. Which is kind of a problem because when I finish a project or don't have anything going on, I definitely am like, okay, why am I sitting around doing nothing? Something's wrong here. So I always have like 5 projects in reserve and plotting 3 other things. Come on, Fred. Fair enough, fair enough. I have my Etsy shop where I sell some stuffed animals, but a lot of stainless steel keychains and stuff that I make while I'm at work because I program and operate a sheet metal laser cutter. Originally, I was gonna try and do these like tell this story in comic form, and I'm like, I don't like doing digital art that much. Like I can do the photo manipulation to a degree. I can make things look comprehensive if I'm creating a collage or something. And there'll definitely be a lot of like post production editing. But my favorite parts in college was actually doing the video editing of the machinimas that we made and coming up with the stories. It is so windy outside. I have a window over there. I'm not just staring off into the distance. We had some weather roll through yesterday, and out of nowhere today, it's like you go outside and you get blown over. I already had to rescue one of the small little flower pots from the porch like twice. The wind knocked it over, and the one of those like Easter perennials. I think that's I don't do flowers. Uh, one of those stupid little Easter plants where the plant jumped out of the pot and the pot was halfway down the driveway. The flowers were right off the porch. I'm like, stop. But my goal today, I'm relatively energetic this morning since I didn't have to be at the racetrack yesterday. Yeah, I'm like, I can draw paper and pencil on in my sketchbook, and I can draw architecture drawings. I have over off to the side here my sketches to do this. I one of the more traditional medias I recently picked up. I say recently, it was a year or two ago. Watercolor pens because I'm like I can't be bothered with a paintbrush, but the watercolor pens I can deal with, or the where you put the water inside the handle of the brush. And that was my first attempt at watercolors. But colored pencil is my preferred choice. I got a whole set of Prismacolor pencils, and it was great because it was one of those nice fancy wooden box sets, and it was like 50% off. So I was like, yes, please. Thank you very much. I know some of my old drawings are somewhere on the internet. I had a DeviantArt at one point. I had them posted on one of my websites, but colored pencils is by far my preferred choice if I have to do traditional imaging. But then again, I'm also sitting here doing what would typically be considered grandma crafts. So I'm an old soul. What I've found a lot of times with traditional media, and the reason why colored pencils work for me, work better for me than most other things, I am very heavy-handed when it comes to drawing in general. So I'm like, I can't use markers. I can't do any sort of, precise line work. So I'm like, okay, let me just 3D. This is my 3D modeling. So it's like I completely made up the pattern for the dress and the corset and the apron. These are all original patterns. And this is the best way to translate my creative ideas into physical form, or at the very least, some sort of media that they're out of my head. Because we don't want people to experience what it's like inside my head. That is a dangerous, scary place. Now we're getting to the slightly obnoxious part. This inner corner that I had to overlap some of the plastic canvas. That's why that part's a little thicker. And trying to make sure that the needle goes through all of the holes to lock everything into place is a bit problematic, especially when I have this part of it whacking me in the face. There's probably better ways that I could have assembled this, but since this is the first time I'm doing something like this, it's a trial and error. Especially since I'm teaching myself as I go. I really should pull out the thimble so I'm not stabbing myself with the butt of the needle, but that would be logical. Logic has no place here. So you said you're a dance graduate. So does that mean like you're an actual dancer, or you went for like choreography or something? Sup, MP3? Listen, I, I don't take any offense to the term nerd because I did participate in the Northeastern Robotics Division. So try again. Absolutely. Did you have a safe trip, Mike? I know you were traveling yesterday, I believe. Ah, okay. So you did have a little bit of downtime before you have to travel crazy distances, it sounded like. But I'm doing pretty good today. Okay, fair enough. I thought it was Fifel, like Fifel. Gotcha, gotcha. That is really cool. I did the, hey, we're 5 years old, so we're doing the dance classes. I did ballet for a little bit, and then I did like tap and jazz. And then high school happened, and self-esteem issues happened, and now I don't dance in any capacity. I did horseback riding for a little bit, and then college happened, and then I focused on music. Fair enough. Fair enough. What is going on here? This corner is not being very nice. Yeah, especially if you start getting into like the world of the professional dance, it is insane. It's in like competitions too, and I never did any of the competitions. I just the local dance studio. Yeah, see, but you wouldn't need the thunder. You need the lightning because the thunder is what happens after you become illuminated with an idea. make sure that this is going to line up because I already have figured out several times that I don't know how to count. Okay, so we're going to jump over here. I think. Listen, I've already had a monster and now I have coffee. And I have a second monster waiting in the wings. So we are about to be highly overcaffeinated. So Eclipse, you can blame Mike for the RPG bot in my chat because it was over in his stream that I found it first. And I'm like, ah, yes, RPGs. I'll take 3, please. Now that we've gotten slightly out of the corner, it's a little bit easier. But I'm happy with how this is turning out so far. It looks like a nice, respectable bar. It'll definitely be easier when I'm attaching the top of it. Okay, so like personally, I don't have a whole lot of wall space. So desk buddies, I think, are absolutely a great idea because, you know, I might not be able to hang up like full size traditional art. Because again, I live in my parents' home and everything takes place in my room. So I don't really have a say on the home decor of the rest of the house. But I do have desk space. So I think desk buddies would be a cool idea. Or you can do like I haven't gotten a chance to like go into depth to see what all you actually create yet. But I always like the smaller things because that means I can have more of them. I have like a small display case and I can put small things in there, but I don't necessarily have room. Gotcha. I was thinking about getting a like desk mat to put under here. I have to take a look into that stuff. The extent of like any of my digital art was my profile picture. Which, you know, crochet stuff doesn't really go lend itself well to prints. Because that's my problem when it comes to like doing craft fairs and stuff. I've finally I've submitted an application, and the plan currently is in September I'll be selling at my local craft fair that I used to grow up going to every year. And I have a tiny car, and I need to be able to set up my entire booth by myself. So I need to like pick and choose. That's why I've been focusing a lot on the keychains, and small stuff that I can easily pack and take with me. So I'm always like at conventions and things. The um what you call it? Like the print artists always had such an easy time because it's, oh yeah, let me just go run to like FedEx and get more of these printed off. As I throw things. Here, Terry's being useful. She's holding the scissors. Ugh. I'm always looking for those nice little organizers because I don't know if anybody else does it, but yeah, basically the scissors are open. She's just trying to be helpful, but she's a bartender, not a mannequin. Probably because you're moving too fast, and you can't say never because you did it the second time correctly. But so I don't know if anybody else does it, but I will. Anytime I'm out somewhere, I have to stop myself from buying more notebooks that I really don't need. And I've come to the conclusion that I like having a lot of office supplies, and it helps me to provide the illusion of productivity. I'm never going to go through half the notebooks that I have, but they look cool. Pickles are delicious. Yeah, the illusion of productivity. Deluding myself that I have my life together, but adulting is hard, so we all know that's a lie. Is this actually doing anything? No, the batteries are probably dying on that. It's too early to be getting all philosophical in here. It is before noon. I haven't finished my coffee yet. Most flowers are actually edible, at least the petals are. They don't taste very good. I think it'd be Phil like AH instead of OH. But I don't know why we're suddenly playing Mad Gabs. Existing thread. Why? Why am I unstable? Hello? Twitch, you wanna cooperate? Thanks. Hello? Are we good now? Are we back to being functional? The heck was that about, Twitch? No, that was probably OBS. Nope. Hello? Why are we unstable? What's going on here? Why are we having problems? Why? Why are we having problems? Now I have to figure this out. Are we good now? Are we good? Okay, we're good? We're stable? I mean, I know I'm not, but the internet decided to cooperate again. And Twitch still says I'm unstable, but OBS is not throwing a fit at the moment. We're gonna... Okay. Well, that was fun. Okay. I'm like, I keep glancing over. I'm like, I don't trust the internet at the moment. Oh, good bot. If Eclipse is able to start a mosh to this music, then we're all good. Okay, Eclipse says Eclipse? No. Twitch. Twitch says I'm good now. Hey. If you can start a slow-mo mosh pit to this music, by all means. Okay. It seems whatever issue has passed currently. There we go. I think it is time to... Ooh. I will be watching the Spring Sizzler of the modifieds over at Stafford. That goes live at 2 on Flow Racing. And then Talladega. So yesterday in the Xfinity the ARCA race, Cletus McFarland was racing. I just find fascinating that, you know, that Cletus McFarland is racing in NASCAR. I know it's only a couple of the races, but it's so cool to think that, okay, he started as, you know, YouTuber, and right now it's currently probably the best thing that's happening to NASCAR. What where is the 6 hours of Watkins Glen being shown? Because if that's on like Fox or something, I can throw that on. Oh, I'm unstable again. Why is the internet throwing a fit? Okay, the internet's throwing a fit again. Probably because of the weather. In virtual world. Okay. OBS, what is going on? What would be causing me to drop these frames? I'm not even doing anything else. Gotcha. Maybe you're causing my internet to lag. Because apparently I'm lagging again. And I don't know why. So we're gonna sit here and attempt to fix this problem. What is the problem here? It's not my CPU. I don't know. I'm just going to blame you for my internet problems because apparently I'm unstable again. And I don't want to switch networks while I'm streaming because I don't want it to break things. Because I'm assuming if I changed my network midstream, it's going to break things. Okay, it's appears to be stable at the moment, but we shall see. I will have to look into this after this stream, see if I could figure out what's causing dropped frames. It was fine on Friday. I don't think I have anything different going on. Do either of you know what could be causing this intermittent lag? I don't normally have it. I don't think it's Spotify causing these problems, but oh, good. Okay. I'm changing my network, so this might break everything. So I apologize if that happens, but why all of a sudden did that jump up? We're gonna switch and hopefully this doesn't break things. Okay. Are we? Okay. I, in theory, should be back. Hopefully. Hopefully that fixed things. Okay. Let's refresh this page. Are we back? Okay. I'm back again. Hopefully y'all find your way back to me. Okay. Hopefully. Fantastic, maybe. I had to restart OBS because if I change the network, then it loses connection to the Twitch server or whatever. So hopefully now that I'm on a different network, OBS stops freaking out. So okay, great, fantastic. Welcome back, everyone. After that little bit of chaos, you know, it wouldn't be my life if there wasn't some degree of chaos involved. Did I somehow manage to break the Discord bot? Because I didn't see the notification that I went live. But I don't know. There's sometimes I'm like, I have no problem dealing with technology, and then other times I'm like, yeah, no, I'm ready to fight everything. Woohoo! Not that I really know what you can do with the dragon bones yet. Or I've figured out what you can do with them. I just don't have the skills to do those yet. Let's go PG. I think my crops should be ready. If I can type. Great. I don't know if I have more wheat seeds at the moment. It's a lot easier being in someone else's stream doing with this bot, so I can be looking at all of the other like web pages that I need to check. Although, oh yeah, there's one more that I want to do. Again, I need to learn how to type. Great, fantastic. 500 coins. Woohoo! Okay. We keep plugging along, getting this bar finished. Okay, I don't know why this network seems to be a lot more stable, but it is, thankfully. And next time I'll make sure that I start on this one. It's weird, this is the first Sunday, not really that long, but the last 2 Sundays, it was Palm Sunday and Easter, so it's like, up 3 o'clock, gotta go to grandma's. Now I don't have anything to do today, aside from watch the race, but that is very much, it's just a nice, relaxing change of pace. So what's everyone else planning on doing with their Sunday? I know, Eclipse, you said you were brainstorming. Ooh. That would be amazing, because like lavender is definitely my scent, my go-to scent of like, I just need something to, yeah, obviously because lavender is like the calming scent. I've always wanted to get one of those like weighted plushies that also smells like lavender. Because I am a dragon and I need my horde of soft, squishy things. Yeah, especially the ones that like you can throw in the dryer for like 5 minutes, so that now they're warm and soft and squishy and weighted. And I'm like, I have the materials, like I know how I would make a weighted plushie, but that involves like making like little patches because the crochet fabric tends to let the little weight pellets, like kind of like a Beanie Baby, it'll fall through just plain crocheted. So you'd almost need to make like a lining for it. And I'm like, I can't be bothered to do that. If I'm crocheting, it's because I don't want to sew. with fabric anyways. It was like if I ever got my own house, there would definitely be a room that was basically just a giant like pillow room. Oh, absolutely. Anxiety is the worst because I definitely understand. I won't. I will very rarely be the first person to talk to someone in like in the real world. I like no thank you. I will sit in the sidelines and I will watch, but I will not be the one to interact. Oh no, absolutely. Like I will be the first person to put myself out there if it's to help someone else. If you ask me to do it for me, that ain't happening. But you need help, I will design you an entire survey so all you have to do is share a link type thing. But if I have to ask for help for myself, not happening. And that's my biggest problem. It is simply like being selfish, I guess would be the way to put that. But absolutely anytime you're looking for like inspiration, I am more than willing to help like be a soundboard for ideas and stuff. Yeah, because like I get that the the it comes from in grade school where everybody would be like it's the end of the world if I was the one who needed help. So I just don't ask for help. I've gotten better at it, but I'll be like I'm literally on a forum or in a group that has a whole section dedicated to asking questions if you need help. And I'm like, no, I can't ask questions because uh, everyone's going to think that it's a dumb question. So I just don't ask the question. So you ask questions for me, and I'll ask questions for you. Oh yeah, and this Discord is like fantastic. They are super nice, super helpful, and totally willing to do everything for like point you in the right direction, get things started. And I like this is literally like the dedicated safe space, and I cannot put myself out there. That's part of the reason why I wanted to start streaming, because at least if there are, real people on the internet that I'm talking to, I'll at least get better at, you know, making friends. 'Cause I have no IRL friends. New Yorkers suck. And as a New Yorker, I can say that. Yes, because we're all our own brand of weird, I'll call it. And it's like, yes, my like minded people. We all don't know how to deal with society in the same or similar fashions. So it's more real, it's more fun, but it also makes deeper connections. What did I do here? What is going on? Hello? Are you done throwing your fit? Okay, thanks. It's like this gives us a place to all hang out until an extrovert comes and adopts us. Because that's how introverts make friends. We get an extrovert that will come and drag us out of our safe space. Throwing things, dropping things. Where is my thimble? Did I not shove it back in here? There are definitely times I'd feel like I'd lose my head if it wasn't attached. I was very happy when like Base invited me to the Discord, because I was like, oh, it's a community. I have a chance at like finding like-minded people. Because I'd never, I wouldn't be half as far along in my streaming journey if it wasn't for the web community. So I'm just thankful that somebody saw me and decided to be like, oh yes, you should be included here. Because I think I've talked with more different people in the last, like, couple weeks since I joined than I had in the entire like last couple of years. I don't say much in the actual Discord. A lot of times I'll just like react with the emotes. Um, but like the extent of what I said was good morning. Other than that, I'm like, I prefer to lurk, and I'll answer if I actually have knowledge. What I feel like I need to do is actually like post some of the, like, oh yes, the little chairs and tables and the dolls that I have done. in like one of the creative threads. Because even that is, that's the, yes, let me put my artwork out there for people to see. And maybe it'll start a conversation of, oh, what's this for? But making friends is hard. Twitch, what are you doing? Okay, good. I just wanted to make sure that I was following you, and I am. It also seems like, even though there is the community chat in the Discord, it's not like that chat is particularly active. We're all just kind of vibe to our own beats, and then I think the share channels are definitely where more of the interactions come from. I mean, I'm sure even with you could even show like, the work in progress of like, oh, here are the steps to how I would come up with a design. Listen, as somebody who creates things, I definitely enjoy seeing the like, oh yeah, here's the design process. Here's my creative thought process because it's different for everyone. But for let me get this needle in so I don't stab myself. I think that's through the correct holes. Excuse me. But as an example, I have my graph paper notebook. This is how I came up with the designs for the chairs and the table. And then this rough sketch is how I sort of came up with my design for the bar that I'm currently working on, where it's like I just drew roughly, the numbers or how many little squares. So I have two different methods of this random designing, but if I'm making my dolls, It's okay, Mike. You're good. I had my stream restarted because the internet threw a fit again. But when it comes to like my crocheting, I'm literally like, okay, I have a hook, I have some yarn, and I have a vague idea in my head. And there's no, oh yes, let me plan. I want it to go this geometric shape and these things. I make it up as I go. Now, granted, I've been crocheting for 20 plus years, so usually I have an idea of what I need to do to accomplish a certain shape. Thank you for the call out, Mike. I did see that. So we were almost done attaching this front strip, and then we get to work on a slightly larger part that will hopefully be a lot easier to maneuver and manhandle. Hopefully. But again, I'd be here doing these crafts anyways. And it gives me an excuse to hang out with you guys. So I'm not complaining. It definitely does get it gets a little disheartening sometimes. And that's only because, so I have a younger sister, and she is by far way more like, she found what she's good at and is, quite famous at it. So I'm always just like, okay, well, I'm older, so I should have my life together a bit more. But that's just the stupid brain talking, and it needs to learn to shut up. You're clearly a sweetheart too, Eclipse. You've been hanging out with me all morning, even through some of my technical difficulties. And it turns out it was my girl brain causing me problems on Friday. My body decided to rebel. So at least there's a reason for the mild case of depression. But anyways. I need to come up with some emotes or something. I don't know if I can use custom emotes yet. I also don't know if I set up alerts properly, but again, I don't know if I have those, if I truly have access to those yet. Yes, I am on OBS, and I believe that I have them linked properly. I just don't know if I have them. I don't know if I've actually gotten a follow since I actually properly hooked them up, so I don't know if they're going to show up. Since follows are the only ones that I think I can actually get at the moment, because you can't cheer or subscribe to non-affiliate. I think I did it right, but who knows? I figured that was a future me problem. If and when I hit affiliate, uh, then I'll worry about getting all the extra fancy overlays. Yeah. Oh, apparently I am getting alerts. Hello, welcome in. I at least heard the sound. I don't know if anything appeared on stream. Welcome in, cat. I am apparently making a mess of this corner. But yeah, no, I definitely figured that as great as it would be to have everything set up and know everything what I'm doing, I'm like, I need to not drive myself crazy trying to figure out everything. Especially now I have a community that can like help out if something's not working like I think it should. So I definitely heard the alert. I don't know if you guys saw it. I did see some of their posting, some of the art in the Discord, and it is really, really cool. I don't know that I got a chance to follow you yet, Royal, so I will do that now. There we go. That is done. Okay, great. So the on-screen is not showing up in OBS. So I didn't see it, but I definitely heard the sound. Because that was a very loud alert sound yelling right in my ears. Okay, so I do have alerts set up properly. I just can't necessarily see them. But again, that's an OBS thing. I think it's on OBS's side that I have to fight with. Because everything's like, oh, copy this to your browser source. I'm like, okay, that's great. Where do I copy it to? Where is that actually located? But again, problem for future me. Yeah, I was definitely debating using using Streamlabs, but I also like having the local recording, and OBS is what I had used in the past. So I was at least a little bit familiar with OBS. I'm just happy as I was able to get my Spotify to be playing on like one of my speakers, and then I have my headset, so all of the desktop sounds come through that. So I'm not like really hearing what's going on in Spotify. I can hear it like around the headphones, but it's not constantly pumping into my ears. Which means I don't talk like I'm getting that feedback loop of talking to myself, or with that slight speech delay. Hello, Base. I'm doing pretty good. How are you on this Sunday morning? Ooh. So now we get fancy special effects, right? Absolutely. That's what happens when you buy new technology. You use it for everything. Is the do you know if the shout out bot is still working and I'm just dumb and missed it? But I didn't see the alert go out when I went live. It is quite possible that I just missed it, but I also can't see any history in the bot. Gotcha. Okay. So it's not just me. I'm not the only one here who's crazy. Or we're all participating in the same fever dream. I saw like a couple of alerts like early this morning, and then Nyla decided to take a break. Welcome into my stream. Now get to work. Okay. That is fair enough. Server maintenance is an acceptable reason for a break. Let's see. Will I have enough string to finish this last little section? We will find out. What do you mean I defeated 0 wyverns? What is that all about? Okay, you also defeated 0 wyverns, so I don't feel so bad. Don't tell me how to live my life, bot. Although, I wonder... Fantastic. So now I have more arrows. Yeah, as long as your archery, I believe, is under level 5, you can use the claim archery command to get another bow and additional arrows. I don't know how often you could use that command, but it's at least working until for now, so I can replenish my quiver. Okay. Going through here, hiding the end, securing it a little bit. That part of the bar is now done. So how did I establish I wanted to do this? That's the part that goes there. And that's the one that's going next. Okay. It's like playing Tetris without actually having appropriate parts. Very carefully untangle this so I don't tie extra knots into it. Now the plan for this, for the top section of the bar, is to have, so like these are all vertical slats. This is, I want to run like the length of it, at least, again, in my head, is how that's going to happen. Who knows if I'll actually be able to mimic what's in my head in reality. Should be Not tying yourself into knots. Okay, thanks. I'm pretending this first one we're gonna do 5 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gotcha. It's always nice when you go back to something that you like, you use the original version of something, and when you come back to it, you have about a 50-50 chance of it actually just being worse or just a disappointment in general. But it's always nice when they've very clearly been working on it. So this whole part of the bar will be interesting to work on because I am, as I'm going to be joining all the pieces together. So I just gotta make sure I remember to add things when they're appropriate. And then I'll have to see if I actually need the little support pillars in the back for added stability or not. hear loud cars outside, and I don't know if it's the neighbors with their quads or my dad with the race car or the stupid, like, lifted diesel truck from down the street. From trying to, like, peer out the window and be like that nosy neighbor. Be like, what's going on out here? Like, yeah, yeah. Done. Followed. That is taken care of. I just needed to wait for Twitch to catch up with me. Okay. So yeah, this is going all the way this way, so this part doesn't need to be added till I'm over there. Let me hold that over there so I don't forget that. I do have a stream up in another window. It is really cool. So yeah, his stream is up. I currently have it up on my other monitor at the moment. I haven't said anything in chat, but maybe I need to actually click in the box. There. I gotta stop trying to answer these people. Like, let me put that down so I can type. Oh, hello, welcome in. Thank you, Royal. I'm like trying to talk to 5 different people at the same time. Hello, hello. Thank you for coming in. Thanks for hanging out. I am hopefully going to finish this bar that I've been working on today. I just finished attaching this front section to the bar earlier, and now I am slowly working on putting together. Oh, no, all good. I just said hi. I'm working on a bar that I'm working on the top of the bar now for my little crocheted dolls that are part of a stop motion animation project that I am working on. So I am building the top for the bar now, and this is the set for the whole stop motion. So I am keeping myself busy making things up as I go along. Plastic canvas is probably my newest craft skill. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. Thanks. Dropping the pieces that I need. The base is allowed to talk in italics if he wants to. If he wants to be fancier than the rest of us, he's allowed to do that. uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ow. I need to stop stabbing myself. Needles are sharp. We should figure out a way in the Discord to set up to schedule the stream together. So if everybody is working on either similar types of art or everybody's working on a different craft, so we could all be doing like one stream and everybody's hanging out in the same stream. If that's how stream together works. I haven't played with that, so I'm not 100% sure. But I think that'd be cool to again sort of help uh bring together our community even more. How crazy is it to set up, Royal? Okay. That is definitely fair enough. Yeah, I imagine. Yeah. Again, being as new to the community and streaming in general as I am, I don't necessarily know what all of the options are. Um, I know, like, I watch like speed gaming where they do the races and stuff, and they usually have the multiple streams go to a third party who's restreaming both of them. Oh yeah, like I said, I don't know what all of the options out there are, so I'm spitballing ideas. Oh, I've heard of Eve Online. Never played it, but I've definitely heard of it. We know, Mike. We know. Uh, this piece next. Nothing wrong with taking a break. Okay. No, listen, base. Those are absolutely valid opinions. That 100% makes sense. I'm mostly looking at it from the perspective of, hey, I'm featuring this guest on, my stream today. That's why I'm asking if anybody's done the like stream togethers, because I haven't. I don't know what all it entails, and I know like when you do multi Twitch, you can switch whose chat you're in, and that's you're just watching like multiple streams at the same time. So no, that absolutely makes sense of wanting to be not wanting to intrude on what may or may not be like the phone call type scenario. I didn't know if the stream together like pools the chat, so it's like you could have multiple people answering the chat at the same time. No, base, that absolutely makes sense. And Royal, I will definitely hit you up if we can chat in the Discord, figure out something, either like tag team or just voice chat or whatever. Um, but yeah, I meant like, you know, 2, 3 people. And that's the thing is you would work on sort of coordinating who's focusing on what. If you have one person, okay, like I'll be on the voice call, but I'm mostly going to be reading the chat or what, or you know, be like, oh, okay, we're gonna take this like piece of this sort of art concept and pass it back and forth. I think it's different if you're working on like a collaborative project as opposed to just like, you know, just, oh yeah, we're all hanging out. If people aren't in the chat, I typically don't do a lot of talking myself, but that's why I have like the chill music in the background. Just this way, so oh yeah, we can just vibe and sit here and work on our crafts together type thing. So maybe I will start because a lot of times I'm not at my computer. I'll be I'll be on the Discord, but I'll be away from my computer, so I don't have my headset set up, and I'm not about to join like a voice chat if I'm amongst other people. I'm not going to be one of those people who talks on speakerphone in like the middle of the grocery store. And they like talk with their phone like 3 feet away from their face. It's like, dude, I don't need to hear about your plans for dinner tonight, Karen. Calm down. If there are 20 people around me talking about random things, I can usually tune them out pretty well. But when it comes to like a chat, I want to be able to actually interact with everybody as best I can. So I'm like, if I'm around 20 people IRL and they're all, you know, talking, I'm hiding in the corner with my hood up and very much the attitude of don't talk to me, don't even look at me. I'm also, even if I'm in a group chat, I won't speak up a lot. I'll sit there, I'll listen, I'll add my 2 cents if it's appropriate, but most of the time I tend to just lurk unless it's direct questions asked. Yes. I would rather speak like face to face. I mean, even a like video call one-on-one is better than on the phone. I refuse to make phone calls. I'm either going to text you, hello, welcome in, thank you for the raid, Digi, or dig. I can read, I swear. I am continuing to work on the bar that I have been building. But I, yes, very much am the type of person I would rather have a face-to-face conversation than any sort of like voice call, because you can't read body language over a voice call. But I am, again, trying to keep things from being tied in knots. This is not the time for that. No, and listen, some people are way more like outgoing in just straight voice chat. Some people are more articulate in person. I will, if I'm typing, I'm like, food's important. Oh no. Audio problems are never fun. But yeah, no, I prefer like if I'm typing, because I can think about how I want to say something and make sure the words are exactly the tone that I want to get across. And even in school, like I was never the type when we had to do like presentations. I don't write note cards. I'm just gonna wing it. Was it the audio output or the audio input uh that what you were having problems with? Yeah, go get food. Food is important. I say as I drink another monster. Because the IT person in me is, have you tried turning it off and on again? I've raided maybe like 3 times. So I'm always like, okay, who am I gonna raid? How am I supposed to raid? I have no idea what I'm doing. I think my probably my hang up right now is okay, so I'm raiding. When do I hit my thanks for watching button, and when do I turn off my microphone? But I'll figure it out eventually. Yeah, the stopping streaming is that other thing, because it's like I have the button sitting in front of me on my it's not a stream deck, it's some generic brand. No, you're all good, Royal. I definitely am trying to get to affiliate, but I'm not I'm not in a like, oh man, I need this done yesterday. I know that's not how this works. But this is, I'm super happy with how today's stream has been going, aside from that one little hiccup where my internet threw a complete tantrum. Uh this is the most consistent viewer count that I've had ever. So I very much appreciate everybody who's, tuning in, hanging out, and watching to me barely avoid stabbing myself with needles. Just a single needle. Because I'm definitely one of the people who likes to just kind of lurk in the background. It's like, I'll be there, I'll support you as best as I can. Just don't expect me to talk. think y'all are both saying the same thing, just in slightly different ways. Yeah, I'm trying to get there, and it's... Listen, technically I'm more than halfway. And this streams like this is what I need, where I have, you know, a good, you know, handful of people just hanging out, lurking, but for like the entire duration of the stream. I have no problem if people just lurk in the background, you know, stop in, say hi, be like, hey, I'm just gonna lurk. Great, fantastic. We don't have to have full-on conversations, but I will happily explain what I'm working on if people are curious, and what my plans are in the future. Because what I would love to be able to do, because I'm definitely going to need some inspiration when it comes to designing the NPCs and background characters, because it's going to be pretty weird if there are only 3 people in a bar. But what I'd love to do is, you know, hey, you guys are the ones who have been supporting me this whole time, so help me design some background characters. So when it comes to like, so she's the barkeeper, and when, you know, it might only involve being at this corner of the bar, but I still need people in the background to make it look like, hey, the world is not dead. So, okay. Which story should I tell? I can tell the background story of Kazul. Not me, Kazul, but the character Kazul. Okay. So, in the land of Ajaspia, the continent of Gigith is to the north of the lands, typically filled with its more rugged and wild landscapes, harsh for any sort of humanoid to really survive. The dragons have mostly taken it over. In the ancient times when magic was new, the dragons were handed down an ancient magic that allowed them to choose their leader, their king. The foretold heirs to the throne would be born from a solitary clutch. Most dragons would have, you know, 2, 3, all the way to like a dozen eggs in one clutch. But when the ancient magics sensed that it was time for the next king to be born, it would be born from a lone egg. Whether that's because all of the magics would need to be focused onto that single egg, or whatever reason the magics chose, that is how they foretold the coming of the next king. As the Society of Dragons evolved and didn't really adapt to the times, they became stuck in their ways. It was always a male dragon that became king, even though king was a title as opposed to... It was the title of the position as opposed to, oh yes, because it's a male, it's a king. The queen was always the favored mate of the dragon. Time passes, the current king is reaching the end of his life cycle and his reign. The next heir is born, or laid would be the appropriate terminology there. The egg hatches after being fawned over by its parents, only for the first time to be born female. Now, the mother dragon was willing to raise the child as the next heir, but the father was completely opposed and was horribly ashamed that he had a daughter instead of a son. So rather than socializing with the other hatchlings, the baby was kept isolated for the first 40 years of their life. And at that point, the father had enough and the mother could do nothing to disobey. So they got kicked out of the cave. And thus started the 500-year rampage of Kazul. Being kicked out of the cave and not necessarily taught properly how to be a dragon. They made it up as they went and accidentally causing death and destruction all across Gigith and Trosia while they tried to rein themselves in and stop following their instincts blindly. Eventually, Karatul and Zaldar, her parents, found her again after her in the midst of her rampage, and placed a seal on her, keeping her trapped in a humanoid form. But the seal had a twist. It slowly bled out her inner fire, which effectively sentenced her to a very slow and painful death. And that's where our story begins, with Kazul stumbling her way into the brandy bush in the hopes of either finding somebody who can fix it or finding a place that would slowly put her out of her misery, because at this point she's not going to last much longer. Ooh. Fancy base. You just missed the whole backstory of Kazul the dragon. Yes, I did see that too, so it looks like Nyla decided to come back to work. So one of the other characters that I don't have the doll finished yet. Orion Mars, who is quite literally a star person, is destined to actually become the man in the moon. So he has his whole, it's just, oh yeah, he's in charge of that. Doesn't really want to be, but he has no choice. Vero the Scholar, my other main character, his backstory is a mystery even to himself. He has gone through some traumatic, some just difficult situations. To the point where lost souls have latched on to him to help protect him from these. I'm not supposed to be going all the way up there. I am making a mess of things as I'm telling my story. So it's not quite like multiple personalities. He has actual multiple souls residing in his body to help protect him when he gets overwhelmed and scared. So there are three others who effectively live in his head. They all can communicate with each other, but um, Vero himself doesn't know about them. One sec. I'm back. Dad was asking if I wanted to go with him to pick up some tires. Not particularly, as I'm hanging out with you lovely people. But so Vero doesn't quite know about the others. He just knows that, oh yes, there are times that something will happen and he wakes up in a different place. He wakes up, you know, somewhere else, and he's not exactly sure how he got there, but at a certain point he will, like, he just kind of goes, oh yeah, it's a thing that happens. So the three others that live in his head are you have Gustav, who is just as much of a scholar as Vero is. But Vero doesn't actually know who he is. Gustav is the one who will make sure that any sort of notes are up to date. Dirk is like a bandit, was a bandit, but eventually finds this place hanging out with the others. He was the kind of like gung-ho, hey, I'm gonna just do what I want when I want, and it eventually caught up with him when he betrayed the wrong person. Gustav was betrayed by a woman who he thought loved him, but one night she slipped a knife between his ribs, and let's just say that ended that romance pretty quickly. And then Pip is a 9-year-old girl, and even the others don't actually know how and why she came to Vero. But it was to protect him from a similar fate as to what she had. And that's the extent of what I'm going to tell you about her backstory, because not even the other characters know it yet. You store your cutlery in your boot, not in someone else's ribs. Then put it in your sock. I am a very, very reasonable person. Just very contrary at the same time. And typically, I always have an answer for everything. Whether or not that answer makes sense is another story, but I'll have an answer. And if it doesn't make sense, I say it with enough confidence that people just believe in me anyways. Absolutely. Okay. So this will be a little better constructed as I go further along. This is how the bar top will look once I continue adding the rest of the rows. The last piece, I believe, again, if my math skills are functional, this will sit in here, and yeah, that should go right in there. Perfect. But it's the weekend. Who wants to math on the weekend? This is getting to the point that it is going to be a pain to tie off. So. This and get the needle prepped for the next one. If I can find the end of the thread. And again, we're going to try and do this without tying excess knots. Let's not try and pull the tail all the way through. What even is going on here? I swear I know how to do this. I'm not that over-caffeinated where everything is jittery. There is only one time that I can distinctly remember being so like caffeinated that I was shaking. I was trying to write some like measurements down, and my mechanical pencil, I was shaking so bad that the letters looked like a wavy font. I was like, "Oh, that's probably a problem. I should maybe have some water or something." Since then, I have fortunately or unfortunately built my tolerance to caffeine. But that's what happens when working overnights while going to school full time. It leads to 4 energy drinks a day. That was a time. How do you defeat 12 wolves? What kind of like armor and weapons do you have? What kind of like listen, that is my usual threat to people. Or oh, somebody's causing you a problem, punch them where it hurts. Me. Is that gonna work? Fantastic. And maybe that'll also help. I need to make better weapons and whatnot. Ugh. Fred, calm down. Control yourself. You're getting hysterical. No, it's you. You've had the bot longer than I've been involved with it, so you just probably have higher combat experience. Oh yeah, winging it is definitely much more fun. Wrong genre. You should do RPG poke. It might be the preferred enemy of your weapon. Uh, the preferred weapon of your enemy. Mine, I don't know. I don't know if I actually have any weapons. Is this a coup base? Are you trying to like take over and like rule my chat? Fair enough. Without you, I wouldn't have had these friends hanging out here. So, by all means, continue as you were. I'm merely stating facts. Base was the second ever person to raid me. He came with like 25 people, doubled my follower count, and invited me to the community that I met all y'all in. Is this part of the reason why you may or may not be allowed back in California? No, it's fine. I have friends on the force. I've got connections. I know people. You see, but one of them is like a blood family, so he has no choice. That sounds like a you problem. Aha. Okay. I have that needle threaded. I am going to be right back. I need to run to the bathroom. So, amuse yourselves for like 10 minutes. Okay, I have returned. I see my chat is not on fire, so good job, guys. Thank you, thank you. Thanks for holding down the fort. Where was I? Go here. Is Spotify still playing in the background? I can't tell. Go for it, Royal. We're gonna go to the next one. Is this playing? Is Spotify cooperating? Can you guys still hear music? Okay. We don't want gnats. We got the spring sizzler starting soon, so that should be exciting. Once I finish the bar, I'm going to start working on the floor, or at least the like floor panels. This way I'll be able to sort of make it like a tile effect, like you do in video games, but without, you know, actually having to tile things. And then I'll have to figure out how I want to make like modular floors and walls. Coffee is always a good thing. What type of coffee do you have, Royal? Like iced coffee, hot coffee, black, light and sweet? Fair enough. I had some I had a Dunkin' iced macchiato with almond milk and caramel. And now I have a monster. Although when I was grocery shopping today, I got more of my elderberry tea, and I got some vanilla caramel tea, which I'm interested to try. Of course, I'm not fancy enough to use loose leaf tea, but I'd love to like learn how to properly use loose leaf tea. Oh yeah, I used to have like four various energy drinks a day when I was back in college and I was working overnights at a gas station. There was very little sleep to be had. Now I've cut it down to two monsters and a lot of coffee. Time that I can raid again. 2 minutes. Come on, bot. Cooperate with me. Okay, chat, remind me to raid in 2 minutes. Raid farm. I had the timing set up, like I rated right when I started, so I was, oh yeah, every half hour I can do this. And then my stream got screwed up and I had to restart, so my timer is off. I didn't look at the clock last time I did it. But it's all good. No, no. You're good. I'm not too worried about actually making it happen right when I can do it again. I'll remember to try again in a little bit. Good cat, good. Don't forget to throw in lots of, I'm sorry, I don't understand. I scared one of my coworkers one time because I was doing like that like flat sort of like robotic voice, and they were like, "Huh? What's wrong with you?" It's that or when I do the high pitched customer service voice that scares people. Back when I used to work at a convenience store, my boss was like, "You need to be nice to people." I'm like, "You sure you want that? Because I can be, super nice and be happy and bubbly and unicorns and sunshines and rainbows." And he's like, "Yeah, never do that again and go back to hating everyone." I'm like, "Okay, thanks." The only time I pull out the customer service voice is when I'm actively selling my crafts. Yeah, that's where I want to be. Yes, the go from emotionally dead to, "Hi, how can I help you?" And that's Sammy. with an eye and a heart over the eye, who's happy and bubbly at 3:30 in the morning. We don't talk about Sammy. Nobody wants to deal with Sammy. I don't want to deal with Sammy. When AI is happy and you know, outgoing, we have a problem. AI is supposed to be cold and detached. Yeah, joke's on it. I don't have any IRL friends. AI can try how I'd like to, but it wouldn't succeed in that regard. Is the new AI voice going to be called like Hoppy? It'll be like one of those Peeps bunnies. And then you can like buy currency and it's like in the form of carrots. There we go. We're talking about I did my Sammy voice, the happy bubbly, 3 octaves up, and we decided that the new AI, instead of like Siri or Alexa, is gonna be happy and bubbly. So the new AI is going to be Hoppy, and you reward it with carrots. That's all. It wasn't an actual like life-changing conversation. We just kind of started going off on a tangent. Carrots are one of the few vegetables I willingly eat, but they have to be raw. No, absolutely. Thank you for hanging out all day so far. So this is plastic canvas. This is quite literally, it's like needlepoint, but it's instead of on a piece of fabric. This is you know, a very flexible sheet of plastic that has the regular spaced grid of holes, and you could use like yarn. You could use what I'm using is the embroidery floss, um, because it provides a little bit more structure for making props and things, so you don't have to worry about adding a lot of stuffing. Like if I was making a plush, uh, like a chair or something, I can make it so this looks like it's made out of wood. There are so many like very similar things. There's needlepoint, cross stitch, um, rug hook is when you have that single like tool that you pull little short strands of yarn. But crafting comes in all shapes and forms. But I'd be happy to hear about what sort of crafts she got up to. Yeah, like true embroidery where you're doing all the fancy stitches onto like clothes is ridiculously complicated, and I have zero patience for that sort of thing. But mad respect for anybody who actually does it. That was the rest of my thread. As I'm losing wrappers, and I think I managed to miss the trash can that is like 2 inches from my hand. I've only recently started doing this plastic canvas, mostly because it's my, I taught myself how to crochet like 20 years ago. I picked up knitting because certain patterns just didn't come out right when you crocheted them as opposed to knit them. And the plastic canvas, I only started doing, or originally I had gotten interested in it because my dad's mother and his sister did the plastic canvas. So I'm like, okay, this is in the family somewhat, but they live all the way upstate and we don't really see them often. So it's not like I had a chance for anyone to teach me. And my dad's mother passed away when I was like really little, like 4, 5, something like that. Um, so I mean, I inherited all her crochet hooks, but didn't really get a chance to sit down and have her teach me how to craft. Yes, yeah, I live on Long Island, and they're up near like Albany. I forget that people don't actually know where I'm from, but yes, I am. I am a New Yorker. There are 3 parts of New York. There's the island. There's the island, the city, and upstate. And I am an islander. And then I lived for a while in Massachusetts. Oh yeah, Buffalo is like a I don't even know, like 8-hour drive. Okay. I've personally not been up to like the Finger Lakes, but I hear that it is absolutely gorgeous up there. I may have passed by there at some point, but most of my traveling was either to like New England. So like I've been to Maine, I lived in Massachusetts for a while. Gotcha. Okay, okay. Yeah, no, the like furthest I've traveled on my own, I went down to Tennessee for a week, but it's lived in Massachusetts for school, came back here to New York, and I've been here for the last huh, it's almost I moved back in 2017. It's crazy how time flies. Like all of a sudden it's been like years since something happened. I am not the person to ask that question to because I feel like I'm 33 going on 90. Huh. Like what's today's date? What oh, it's like 2 weeks until my birthday. Huh. And my birthday falls on a Friday this year, so I will definitely be streaming. Thank you. Thank you. It's not this coming Friday, but next Friday. Listen, Base, you're lucky I wasn't taking a drink at the moment because I would have probably snorted it out and that would have been painful. Because if you've never, like, snorted caffeinated beverages through your nose, it's painful. You keep talking like you're ancient. You're not. Calm down. And I'm not talking inhaling, I'm talking exhaling. Calm yourself. Listen, age is but a number, and especially when I drink, I have the mentality of a 12-year-old boy. because the stupidest crap is hilarious to me. So there's a time and a place to act your age and a time and a place to goof off whenever. It's all about being comfortable in your own skin. Yeah, next time you stream, I'll hop in and you'll have to tell some of your stories. Okay, we got some racing going on, so we're gonna throw that on in the background. Luckily, all the rain happened yesterday, so Stafford should not get rained out. Stafford has the worst record, or Connecticut has the worst record of trying to have racing happen. Well, that's not good. Luckily, I've never had to deal with floods. I've like the most was I've had to deal with being like buried under 3 feet of snow, but flooding I've not had to deal with, or tornadoes or anything. Yeah, nah. See, I was either on my island where I didn't have to do it, or I lived up in Worcester, Mass. So I was high enough up in the mountains that nothing reached us except some thunderstorms once in a while. And the snow. I did once have to go walk 2.5 miles through waist-high snowdrifts to go retrieve my car because they put like the emergency parking into effect and I didn't know, so my car got towed. So that was not fun. So adding this second row is definitely making the construction a little bit more stable, which is nice. So I don't have it flopping around like this is. But we got that sort of nice wood grain pattern going on where it's like planks of wood. At least that's the impression I hope it gives. And so this will be the top of the bar, which will hopefully stop the twisting effect. And then the bar will be complete. Gotcha. I'm lucky enough to not live crazy close to any colleges, but I'd be much happier if I lived in a cabin in the middle of the woods. Because I'm like, no, my nearest neighbor should be like far enough away that people won't hear anybody scream. I like the idea of having like that nice expanse of woods, maybe a cabin on a lake somewhere, uh, and enough privacy to like sit out on a balcony and watch nature. Okay, safe trip, Mike. Thank you for hanging out. Make sure you let us know in the Discord when you get to where you're going so we all know that you arrived safe. He is. He is definitely a very valuable member of this community. No, I didn't say that I want to live off the grid. I just want like I'd I'd willingly pay the whatever it cost to make sure I have it. I just want the privacy. So even if it's not quite like an isolated cabin in the middle of the woods, but just far enough away that the nearest neighbors are not like, "Oh, I'm standing in the second floor and I can see into your backyard." That's all. I just want the that almost isolating level of privacy, but definitely not off the grid. Plus, I don't have enough real world survival skill. And I'm not taking anything away from people who do live like off the grid, disconnected from the internet. Good for them. I just wouldn't function very well like that. And it'd be cool to do that for like, a weekend, maybe a week here and there just to disconnect from everything and recharge, but not permanently. Wow, that's impressive. That is very impressive. But hey, at least you can say you did it. You can actually say, been there, done that, no thank you. As opposed to just, people who make it up and be like, oh yeah, I could totally survive doing that. No, you couldn't. Yeah. How? Stop that. Okay. Oh, good. Gotta love, lap 2 and we have a 4-car pileup. These people need to learn how to drive. Or at least calm down, because y'all would have made the race. I'm watching the Spring Sizzler on Flow Racing, which is modifieds on asphalt. So I have a race going on off camera that I'm watching. And it may have even been lap 1, but they all decided to go for the same, 2 inches of track. No, these are those open wheel, tour type modified. These are technically the SK modifieds. But that is a horrible camera angle. You need to change it. I work in the replay booth, the camera booth at my local racetrack. So I'm always commenting on the production quality of other tracks. Okay. That's fair. Racing is not, necessarily everyone's cup of tea, but I grew up watching NASCAR, and then since I moved back to New York, I got involved with the short track racing, and I bought my dad a race car, so we go out there every Saturday as long as the weather cooperates, and he drives and I work. Is the track near you a dirt track or a paved track? If you know. Gotcha. No, that makes sense. There's again, unless you actively watch racing or are specifically paying attention to where all of these where all the tracks are, you shouldn't be expected to know what's going on. Okay, so it might even be like a road course or something. Yeah, that's what everything is nowadays. The farmland, and even just sort of any empty property will get snapped up by developers. That's not right. Undo. Gotcha. Yeah, that sort of industrial manufacturing takes up a lot of space, and they shove it out in the Midwest because it's a lot cheaper than trying to do it somewhere else. What is going on here? Okay. The Japanese definitely have efficiency down to a fine art. Japanese is an intense language, but then again, so is English, and even as native English speakers, it is probably one of like the dumbest languages. I'm going to try and at least get around this corner, and then I've been going for a long time. Yeah, Chinese is probably, I believe that is the number one language like spoken in the world. So if you did have to pick like another language, it definitely would be one of the more beneficial languages to speak. I studied Italian in high school to connect to that side of my family, and I'm picking up basic Spanish while at work because like 90% of my coworkers are some variation of Hispanic. Yeah, I'm like, at this point, I know enough Spanish to either get me into trouble or get me out of trouble, or I'm gonna start a fight with somebody unintentionally. But I can speak enough broken Spanish that they understand what I'm trying to say. Okay. I have successfully managed to turn a corner. So I'm going to probably end up finishing the bar at least to the point where the top is finished and connected to the rest of it off stream, because I need to get up and walk around for a bit because I've been sitting here probably for like 4 hours. So the bar is very slowly coming along. I'll get water eventually. I still have Monster. But I should eat lunch. That's what I should do. So let's switch over to this. So you're not looking at a teeny tiny picture of me up in the corner. And thank you to everybody who came, who hung out. Thank you to the Royal and Dig for the raids. And thank you, everybody, for just being awesome and coming to hang out all morning while I ramble away and barely avoid stabbing myself with a sharp needle. I will definitely stop by next time I see you go live, Royal. And yeah. So who all is actually still here? If my chat wants to load to tell me who all is in my chat. Obviously Royal's here. Oh, DJ. You didn't say hi. Okay, so we got a couple people just hiding and lurking. Yeah. Maybe later on I'll stop by the voice chat So we're going to do one last RPG bot command. If it lets me. Fantastic. Okay, and we're gonna raid to see who else. We're gonna just scroll through people who are live to see who we're gonna raid. Oh, here's a new streamer with only a couple of viewers. So let's see. How do I do this? It's with a slash raid, I think. Is that how I do it? Or is it the wrong slash? I'm bad at these commands. Yes, I will. Thank you for hanging out, and we're gonna do a raid. Oh, we can't. Never mind. We'll try something else then. Let me. Cool. Okay. Anyways, so rating doesn't seem to be working for me right now. So I will bid y'all goodbye. And thanks for hanging out. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.